Nando's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Electricity powers our favorite appliances and devices. But leaving your devices on or even plugged in when not in use can waste energy. Wasted energy that runs up your bill. When not in use, switch off, unplug, save energy and save your appliances and devices. It's the smart thing to do. Saving energy is what's smart.
We heard you, and now we are answering. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union is happy to offer you, our valued customers, the most amazing deal to own your piece of St. Lucia. From now until December 31st, enjoy an interest rate of 4.5% with a deposit of 5% to help you purchase house and land only, or put up a structure on your existing property. And it gets better. Legal fees are included in your mortgage. Call us at 452-6820 or 453-2951 or email us at info@elkscreditunion.com. Terms and conditions apply. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union, building a stronger community, one member at a time.
There is no better symbol of independence than your very own vehicle. With First Wheels from First National Bank, we offer a very competitive interest rate with rapid approval and 100% financing on new vehicles. Enter your state of independence with a First Wheels vehicle loan from First National Bank. Visit or call us at 455-7000 or 455-7127 to book your appointment today. First National Bank, here for you.
NewsSpin WhatsApp group, somebody has written something there to say, the road from Shock Bridge to St. James needs to be fixed ASAP after the rain is gotten worse. My suspension is going. And we just extracted this from the NewsSpin WhatsApp group. Let's open the lines right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We have our first caller line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
I'm so happy that you came back today, although you said it would have been off today, but...
No, we're just going charging. We're just bluffing.
Oh.
You're just bluffing.
Well, I hope you're not getting on like the politicians, eh? Especially like some engineer. I'm not going to mention names.
No, we don't like politicians at all.
Yes, but Tim, I have a serious problem. Newsmaker Light, especially the engineer, Mr. Peters. Tim, he talking about the old St. Jude, spending money in the old St. Jude, and he criticizing, the box. But in my opinion, Tim, if you travel all over the world and you'll see the hospitals, they're all shaped like boxes. All the hospitals all over the world. But the point I want to make, Tim, is that in Mr. Peters' time, when he was an engineer, they didn't have all them high technology, And right now, if these students are coming back home, and I know a number of young engineers on island will disagree with him. The reason why I am saying that, Tim, some of them youngsters and women, engineers, will sit down and talk to him. They would like to know about the past, the old generation, the time when he was an engineer in the 70s and the 80s, And when you look at technology, how it had improved and stuff like that, cutting-edge technology has gone a long way, and everybody in that, Tim. Tim, you remember a long time ago when we was little, you used to see some cars, they used to start in the front, where they used to have something and, instead of you starting with a key, you have to go in the front, and you have to be spinning that thing for it to start.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tim. I am not going to, try to degrade the guy, but, in this time, technology was not there yet. And when Mr. Peters, probably went and studied and he come back, all these high-tech were not in place for him.
Yeah, but the guys do refresher courses there, caller.
Yeah, but he could. But I'm coming to that, Tim. So when he on your show and you ask him and he start putting his head down and he start booting, I mean, if you know you're not in that caliber, you shouldn't be coming there and talk about high-tech technology and whatever and criticizing the box and this, that. Now, my point I am making, I want to draw to you. I feel Mr. Peter right now Mr. Peter should take a course to try to be where them young engineers are right now. Because when it comes to high-tech technology and stuff, he cannot talk to those engineers.
Cole, I think you're making an assumption. As I said earlier on, those guys do refresher courses, caller. They do refresher courses.
I don't believe he did that because, I mean, a young kid now, you know, just about going to university to be a qualified engineer would outshine him by far. By far. I have my niece right now, is in Canada doing architect and engineering. And when she comes back, you think she'll take time to hear what Mr. Peters was talking about a hospital about 80 years ago? 80 years ago, Tim? My God! And if you want to bring that up to par, you need to have those young people that go to engineering, you know, that study engineering in a university to come back and to modify that and to make it what it is, to bring it, I wouldn't say 100% like what he criticized the box, but the point is, I'm sure those young engineers could bring it to a certain level, maybe about 60, 70%. You understand? Because if you have an old car game, Tim, look at those carburetors. And all cars coming on island right now is fuel injector. You know, I do not know what car he's driving, but most of the cars on island is fuel injector. You know, those things, when you have a problem, Tim, you know what device you have to use right now? A scanner to scan the machine to know where the problem is. All that is high tech. Now, I hear one of your big engineers, he's jack of all trades. And to me, you take so much time.
Who is that individual?
That one in New York, man, Mr. Bailey, you know, a so-called engineer. He know everything. Because, you know, when you see them fellas supporting a party and where the country going, they don't want to see the country going forward, you know. They want the country to go back in reverse. But we're not going in reverse, Tim. And I know you and many other callers that call in want to see that we have a hospital, you know, maybe tomorrow. Because that thing been going on too long in this country, you know, and I'm going to give both parties flap. But the truth of the matter is, if it's 70%, you come in there, stop the talk, and walk the walk, finish it. That is what people are asking for. You know, but they want to play politics and stuff, and even Mr. Peters talking about CS. I think, man, this guy need a rest and need to go and get a full valuation of himself.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have a WhatsApp call. Let's go to that call right now and say hello. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Let's try again as we say hello. Good afternoon. You are on the air. Good afternoon. Okay, we keep trying. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon. Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Not too bad, sir. Good afternoon. I just really want to start on a note that I feel is important. And I know there's a lot that Mr. Peters have been very questionable, and that's not how a situation can portray itself. In my opinion, I think because he was very critical of the former administration, engineers are not saying nothing. And
Okay, people are criticizing Mr. John Peters, but remember, Mr. Peters was only one of 5 individuals on a committee, and he also did not chair the committee. I remember that. Go ahead, Hyper. No. Okay. My apologies to this caller because I'm getting some messages that people are saying they're not hearing the caller. So my apologies to you if you did not hear what the caller was saying, and that was Peter Hyper Isaac. All right, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. I have a WhatsApp call right now as we say hello. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon to you, caller.
How are you?
I'm okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Okay. Did I hear Mr. Peters say about the building? A building cannot be state of the art?
Well, he said that, yes, on Wednesday evening.
But Tim, of course a building can be state of the art. A building like what is in before the helicopter pad and the different the architecture, what was used, the material that was used, the technology. So I don't understand how Mr. Peters can say a building is not a state of the art. You cannot call a building state of the art. This is confusing. As an engineer, of course a building can be state of the art. The way it is constructed. Tim, tell me something. Am I wrong?
Well, based on my readings of late on that whole issue, yes, it can be a state of the art building.
So why must Mr. Peters mislead people and try and papi show the building and say the state of the art, you know? I mean, come on, man. Why are they doing that to St. Lucians? Just in the name of politics, man. And there are people who swallow in these kind of things.
Well, I don't know, to be fair to Mr. Peters. To be fair to Mr. Peters, I don't know it's in the name of politics.
And try and ridicule a building and say a building cannot be a state of the art.
Are you there, caller?
What you said, Tim?
I'm saying to you, to be fair to Mr. John Peters, I don't know that we can misconstrue what he said then attribute it to politics. People disagree with what he's saying. I don't know if it has anything to do with politics.
From the time Mr. Peters made the statement of calling that hospital a box, anybody could know where Mr. Peters was coming from, because it's the ruling party that has been calling from the time they were in opposition. They call it a monstrosity. They call it a box. So when you come as a professional and you're using these words that has been used by these certain politicians, you associating yourself with them. Mr. Peters should be more professional and never use that statement he made there. That alone taught all his nakedness. It showed his biasness. As a professional, you cannot come and make a statement like that. And he laughing like when you told him that, I mean, come on, Mr. Peters, you really let me down. And I'm not only saying you let down. And the people who are supporting what you did there on Wednesday, they're not your friends and they don't like you. Because anybody who respects you will tell you straight, Wednesday night was a disaster for you in your career and your credibility. Thank you, team.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling. I'd like to apologize again to our audience because earlier on we did play, I was interacting with a caller, that's Ras Iper, and that call did not go on the air, so we do apologize for that. We have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Tim, again, I listened from yesterday, I listened again today as you have started your show, and everyone that was criticizing Mr. Peters and have given a narrative that is in sync with supporting the new structure that was built by Shas. They are given all the latitude to say whatever they want, right? And most of what they're saying really is not based on fact. right? Because anytime, even if the government made a decision to go to the new building that Shasta has built, or built, sorry, in the last administration, 22 of the phase 1 still has to be part of that project. So now you're calling the 80-year-old, you call the 80-year-old structure, but it still has to be part of that structure, because what was built by Shasta is not adequate enough to take up the entire hospital. And that's a fact.
Caller, hold on, no, that's not a fact. That's what we've heard. That's what. Hold on, no, caller, hold on, please. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. In a very nonchalant manner, you like to say that's a fact. That's a fact. I've taken it and and played on it. But don't just everything you say that's a fact, please. Okay. All right. Okay. Anything. Hold on. Anything anybody says can be challenged. So stop saying that's a fact. Okay. That's just a gimmick you're trying. I don't know. I don't know if that's something you picked up in the States or in France or Martinique. But stop. Caller, listen to me, please. I am the host of the program. These days you're a part-time host of a talk show. It seems you don't understand the rules of hosting a talk show. Okay, the host can intervene anytime.
But I also understand bias. I also understand that. Okay? Very clearly.
Well, you have a degree in bias, Oh,
yeah. Well,
all right. You have a degree in bias, in big bias. Go ahead.
Let me continue. And Tim, I have made many contributions to your show, right? You have recordings of them. And I want you to look up all the recordings of all the contributions that I have made and see where I have tried to mislead the public. Because I always get my facts before I call your show, Tim. And I get it from the horse's mouth. I got it from the people that were involved. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is going to be part of the report moving forward, even though it has not been. So I'm giving you some information even beforehand. You know what I'm saying?
And that needs to be verified, sir. Don't because you tell me about you listen to somebody say something, you're aligning somewhere, you hear somebody say something, you come and repeat it on NewsSpin and believe that's a fact.
Okay,
no.
May I continue? May I continue?
Caller, I have a problem with you. Every time I intervene, you believe I should not intervene. So therefore, you should not be calling NewsSpin, caller. Therefore, you probably should not be calling this program if you want to be challenged. All right? I'm just saying to you, people can have a report. They could present it. You could be there listening to what they're saying and then present it as fact. It can always be challenged. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. What I'm saying to you, all the callers, none of them are concerned with the fact that at least 4 to 6 containers of construction material disappeared. They're not concerned about that. You know what I'm saying? They're not concerned about the fact that what chance they built there, right, is twice the cost of construction as the OKU. Twice the cost of construction as the OKU. The phase one, right, that was built, it was half the cost of OKU, right, per square foot of construction. It is half the cost. Now the first phase, I'm talking about, 24 of those, there are 24 buildings, I'm Tim. 22 of those buildings are practically 100% terminated. All they need is the insides and also real thick. On 2 other buildings are 70%. 2 other buildings are 70%. So you have only 2 buildings that will need considerable work that could be done in no time, right? And here you have, they're making a case for a building, a team that we're saying over and over again. They could go and see it because I saw it for myself. There is no water installation. There's no electrical installation. There's no gas installation. There is no partition in the building. None of that. And you're telling me that building is 70% unfinished with all of those things out of the window? Come on, Tim. Let's be realistic here. And you calling people like me political? So what are those people that are calling and backing up that narrative that doesn't make no sense whatsoever? You have no water, no electricity, no gas lines, no partition in the building whatsoever. And you're saying that it is 70% complete.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. 452-2979, 452-2979.
Tim, I'm going to move away from St. Jude for a moment because, frankly, I believe the good doctor adequately address the issues that we need to be concerned with. That's Dr. Wilson. And for that reason, I'm not even going to touch St. Jude. The government will do what it wants to do. I don't know that we can do anything about it. Besides, I do believe that that very well may be a smoke screen for other issues that are pressing that we need to address, but has gone eerily silent, and that's the Caribbean Court of Justice. Now, Pierre wants to push us through the Caribbean Court of Justice, and he says it's because we do not need a referendum as per the Court of Appeal. Now, we know the Court of Appeal is the judiciary. Pierre is not a part of the judiciary. Pierre was elected, and he's a member of the legislature. He can pass laws that the people believe are necessary. One of the laws that he can implement immediately is the constitutional situation we have that good money was spent on, and that is sitting on someone's desk and is not being implemented. Okay, I think that's where we should start. Now, regarding the Caribbean Court of Justice, I'm addressing the 75% of the population that are generally affected by what happens with our justice system. Those are the people that are always at the bottom of the ladder. They do not get the justice that they deserve. They need to know that they have to put their foot down and demand what they need. We are not ready for the Caribbean Court of Justice, even though there are islands that may be. Even though the idea of a CCJ is in fact a good idea, the fact is we are not yet ready for that. Timothy, you have situations in St. Lucia where you go to court. You are rushed through discovery. You are rushed through trial. And then you sit and you wait for 9 months to get a decision. That needs to be corrected. That absolutely needs to be corrected. We have a situation where you will go to the land registry, and this is current, and this has happened to me today, so I'm not telling you what someone has told me. In 2013, I filed an application for a caution on a piece of property at the registry. I have received nothing yet from the land registry. 2013. In 2015, we filed it again. Still nothing. Last August, we filed it again. Still nothing. I have called and asked to speak to the land registrar time and time again. I have sent email after email, not even an acknowledgement of receipt of my email I get. Today, I'm speaking again, asking to speak to her. She's at a meeting. She's always at a meeting. Finally, she comes on the phone. Hello? I said, excuse me, who am I speaking to? That's the person you say is committing ball at the registry. If you ever call that again, I will sue you. She raises her voice. She hangs up. Okay? Timothy, this is a public place, and we have to get the people's work done. Okay? You are not ever available, and the one time you come on the phone is to yell at a customer instead of dealing with the situation. Jemima Noble has been as land registrar since 2005, and it's time to move her because she's not getting her work done. If you're not going to give the caution, send a letter saying you're denying it and the reason why you're denying it. But don't sit on it and say that there are processes, because the process clearly isn't working, and it has not yet worked for me. Timothy, lots of people in the country will tell you they have situations where their case goes to trial. They get a decision in their favor. They turn around and their land is sold out from under them, and then no lawyer takes their case to fix it. Isn't that a situation that Pierre is in a better position to deal with for us, the people of the country right now? Isn't that what we need to concentrate on? getting justice for the people right here. Timothy, the people that are land registrars, they graduate to masters and then judges in the Caribbean. Registrars of the court graduate and become masters and then judges. The same lawyers writing the fake deeds graduate and become judges in the very same system. So if we do not correct the system at its very root, how the heck are we going to be comfortable to make it our last court of redress? We're not saying we don't think that there is the academic qualification or the intelligence to have our own court. We're simply saying concentrate on us because we elected you to concentrate on us right here, right now. Fix the justice system that we have here, and then we can talk about the Caribbean Court of Justice. Maybe then we can graduate lawyers who are following the rules, and then they can become just judges. Maybe then we could put judges on the court who are able to give you decisions promptly. Maybe we can have that kind of correction so people can start to feel a little bit better. Timothy, do you know that people are wielding cutlasses and firing bullets because they have no confidence in the system? We don't have a small claims court, so when somebody goes into your garden and steals your fruit, you can quickly go into court and get some redress. So take the time and take the money and set up a small claims court so people can seek redress when they need to. So long as we don't do these things, it's not going to get better in St. Lucia. Jemima Norville, do your work. Otherwise, whoever's responsible for you being in that office ought to make sure.
Ma'am, we should not be getting into the name calling, because the lady you just made reference to, she's not in a position to identify herself, and I don't think
she
that.
knows it's
No, caller. But I don't know that she's at the heart of the problem. The problem is a lot bigger than any one individual in St. Lucia right now. But anyway, thank you so much.
Wait, just a minute before you get off the phone, Timothy.
Let's not make her the issue, ma'am. Let's not make her the issue.
No.
All right?
Let me just conclude. I will conclude, I promise you. Okay? She is the land registrar. The buck in that office stops with her. If the people below her aren't doing their work, it's her responsibility to ensure that they do it. But when she gets an email, she needs to respond to it. Period. That's her job. Thank you, Timothy.
Okay, thank you so much. But in defense of that particular officer, you have a number of other institutions as far as the judiciary is concerned that are not functioning properly, and I think that will also affect the work of the Land and Registry Department, among other sections of the court. And I just do not want us to identify any one person, particularly when those individuals are not in a position to defend themselves. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, Mr. John Peters is an engine fast. The man of the engineer. You hear me? The man of the engine fast. So solutions.
Caller, I think we need to give Mr. John Peters a break and let us stay away from the Mapui, primarily because he took the opportunity to appear on a talk show, to expose himself, to speak his mind, etc. And when, for example, caller, so many other people, they do not want to come forward to give their point of view or to opine on things that are happening in the country. So you can disagree with him, caller. No problem with that. But the Mapui, let's stay on the name calling. Let's stay away from that, caller. All right?
Tim, I was a man. He's not an engineer.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for calling, sir. We'll take a quick break. The broadcast will continue in just a moment with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. We'll be hearing from Mr. John Peters again because he'll be speaking on a particular matter. That is the failure of the government to release the contents of the technical report. And remember, he was part of that committee, which is headed by Mr. Mark Hennicat. All that and more coming up on the program.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
A newly renovated home is a special feeling, and lighting can be a big part of that. Like the LED seasonal lights many now use for energy saving and safety over the holidays. It's worth the effort to install LED lights everywhere, and you don't have to be an expert to change a bulb. Remember to turn off all lights when not in use. This includes LED lights. Saving energy is what's smart.
Primeira manière pour entrer indépendant, c'est là où ka conduire l'auto qui sa ou. Avec First Wheels Hot First National Bank, nous ka offert l'intérêt qui bien bas et nous ka prêter ou tout l'argent pour acheter l'auto depuis ou satisfait tout ça qui mérite. Vini indépendant et prêter l'argent Hot First National Bank pour acheter First Wheels. Visitez n'importe branche et bien couillez téléphone 455-7000 et 455-7117. First National Bank, here for you.
Sunday, October 2nd, all roads head to the CPJ Car Park in Cul-de-Sac for the CPJ Food and Beverage Festival to kick off Creole Month. It's the best of both worlds with great tasting food, beverages from around the world, and music. Performances by Umpa, Shemi J, Jerv Too Funny, Kuya, Ras Africa, Fizz Your Band, Tedison John, The Secret Band, and your DJs, Levi Chin, DJ Bro Styles, DJ Baba Roots, Lychee Sounds, DJ Collation, and A1 Jugglers, hosted by Ezra, the Fun Machine. Get your early bird tickets now for only $30 from the Cell and CPJ outlets. It's the CPJ Food and Beverage Festival, October 2nd from 2 p.m. to midnight at the CPJ parking lot, Cul-de-Sac.
I know I'm belaboring the point, but I'm just saying that there needed to be public discussion and consultation on the issue.
To fence a facility, come on, Tim. Come on. No. I give them a blind on that one.
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning.
No, I give the government a blind on that one.
Yeah, because you see,
you can't tell me you want to go to the public to say to the public, do you think we should fence a
not
facility?
fencing. No. We say to the public even before we fence. We wanted input from you. Okay, because I honestly believe that the government is trying to bluff its way on this particular thing, on this particular project. I'll tell you why. Because it's saying the project will start in earnest in November, but we start with fencing, Timothy, and then we start with exterior.
I can assure you that Mr. Honorable Philip J. Pierre is fully aware that failure to complete St. Jude's equates political suicide. I am fairly confident that he has that understanding of the importance of this project. Right? So I will be very, very...
Did he communicate that to you?
Well, I don't think it needs communication. I think the defeat of the last government equates to the reality that as former Honorable Jai quite correctly stated to the public, if we fail to finish St. Jude's, we should not be in government. And his prophetic words came to pass.
How long will it take to put the St. Jude reconstruction project at a level whereby the patients and the staff at the stadium can be transferred to the hospital?
I would give it an outer period of 3 years. I think that is a decent time frame to work with. It can be shorter, but I think if you're looking at construction and commissioning of the facility, I would want to venture to say that a 3-year program is sufficient time to accomplish that.
Mr. John Peters speaking last Wednesday on DBS's Newsmaker Live broadcast. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Timothy.
Good afternoon, caller.
Timothy, when I heard about those ladies that went up to Canada, and some of them are back.
Well, they are all back, caller?
All?
Yeah, all of them are back because, I mean, they ended their contract. All of them are back.
I am not surprised because...
No, the contract came to an end, sir, so they are all back.
What end? Okay, but what I was saying, some did come before the contract ends.
Yeah.
And I was never in favor of that, Timothy. Because the women in Canada don't do that job. No women in Canada do that job. Canadians, I mean.
Don't forget.
That's why they have people from all corners of the Caribbean and Latin American places to come and do the job. Just like when we used to go to America and cut cane. No Americans will take a cutlass and go on the field and
do not forget, caller, that Canada has a shortage of workers, experiencing a serious shortage of workers. All right. So I'm sure that you have Canadians who are part of the farm workers program, but they just need additional hands that are coming from Jamaica, the parts of the Caribbean and elsewhere.
Timothy, which Canadian and go in the field 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and go down on the knees in the cold and pick strawberry?
Caller, I've never been to Canada, but that's what I read, and my producer, he has been to Canada, he has lived there for a while, he has relatives there, and he's nodding and saying that there are Canadians who are also part of the farm workers program. So
okay, I accepted that. But let me say a little thing about that hospital they're talking about. Again, when I really analyze the St. Lucia Labour Party, they don't want anything of value for St. Lucians. Because you don't tell me going back to a building which is almost 75 years going up, and then you go in there and spend millions of dollars in that building, whereas there's a building right there. We're living in modern times, Timothy, and for the Prime Minister to say that is where he going to that's the building he's going to complete to put St. Lucians in. When I really analyze the Labour Party, they don't want anything of value for we St. Lucians. Because they talk about cabot. We're taking the land from the people, we're doing this, we're doing that. When that project is completed, Timothy, how many St. Lucians are going to be employed there? We don't have jobs for St. Lucians. The school children live in the classroom and they don't have nothing to do. You understand? So the St. Lucia Labour Party, as a matter of fact, from day one, everything good that is happening in St. Lucia, they object. They opposing it. Is not to say that is something new. That has been going on for years. Everything the government tried to do just to lift up St. Lucia to another standard. The St. Lucia Labour Party opposing them, and they are politicians. Those things are for us, not really for them, even though they are human beings as well. When you try to oppose something that is good for the country, and you get in your salary every month, you telling me that you are for St. Lucians? If something is not good, it's not good. I agree. But if something is being done to help St. Lucians, to create jobs for St. Lucians, and you're opposing it, only because you're another one in power, that is sad for the St. Lucia Labour Party. That is sad for them. It's time for them to get up early in the morning and smell the coffee. That's not the politics of in the 60s again. We're in the year 2022. By the year 2030, we're going to have almost 10 billion people living on this planet Earth. Thank you, Timothy.
Okay. I'm sure that those words are falling on deaf ears. Politicians do not care. They say something while in opposition. When they get into government, they automatically want people to do a volte-face, have the change in attitude and agree with them, although knowing that when that party was in opposition, they did everything possible to go against the government of the day that would have been pursuing a particular initiative that came under stiff opposition. We have a call. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you are on the air.
A pleasant good afternoon to you, Tim, and your international listeners all over the world. Welcome to the Banana Republic, PW on the line.
Good afternoon, sir.
Timothy, I have been having countless sleepless nights over St. Jude Hospital, Timothy. That is something dear to my heart. I wanted to find out from probably John Peters or Henny Cat or the committee themselves whether they actually looked into, before signing this report, that they looked into the Prime Minister's eyes to tell him, sir, the people of St. Lucia have been waiting for this hospital for 13 years, Timothy. The people of St. Lucia cannot wait for 3 years for another hospital. And I wonder if they did.
But if we waited for hospital for 13 years, caller, we can't wait for an additional 3 years? Just bring it to 16?
We can't. That would take it to 16. That is the problem, Timothy. That would take it to 16. And I wonder if he advised the government to try to complete this hospital within 1 or 2 years, Timothy. Timothy, as I drove, by the stadium every single day, Timothy, I can see the deplorable state this hospital is in. Even when my guests ask me, what is this? You understand? I can't say this is a hospital. I can't use George Odlum's name in it to say this is a stadium. Timothy, and what baffles me is that I cannot understand up to a day like today the nurses and doctors can work at a deplorable place like this. These are the symbols of pride and dignity.
Well, kudos to them, caller, if they can do it.
Timothy, these are the symbols of pride and dignity. Timothy, I remember a few years ago, Timothy, I went to the Folk Research Center, Timothy, and that place was in a deplorable state. I can tell you that. You know what, as St. Lucians, we do not take pride in the places that, symbolize our pride and dignity, Timothy. That place was in a deplorable state. The whole place was in disarray. And you have this guy coming on television and talk so much about that Folk Research Center. I brought guests there. I was more embarrassed. One of the places I was very impressed about is the archives in VG. I was very impressed about this place. Everything was well arranged, clean, no spider webs. This place is a very impressive place, and I would advise St. Lucia to visit this place. St. Lucians to visit this place. Look at the Derek Walcott House and the Derek Walcott Theater in Capes State, Timothy. How do we expect the young people of this country, to stay and actually work in this country and have a sense of pride and dignity? This is why a lot of doctors, more or less nurses are leaving this country. They're going to Canada and the U.S. to seek employment. Timothy, we need to have a sense of pride and dignity for symbols that matters to us in St. Lucia as St. Lucians, Timothy. Timothy, I thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your contribution. Let's see if we have any of your relevant contributions in the chat room that I could go through at this point in time while we continue to await your calls. We have another caller line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Yes, Tim.
Good afternoon, Rick.
Tim, a lady called you earlier on about the CCJ. Was that the lady who sounds like...
yeah, that's Nigel Toussaint.
Oh, that was the real McCoy?
Yeah, Nigel.
Oh, boy, I better make an appointment at the Wellness Center to go check my head because I happen to be in harmony with her. Tim, you know that the the population of prisoners, inmates at Bordelais is 76% on remand?
Yes. I think the chief correctional officer made that point recently. Yeah.
In other words, Tim, if you took out 76% of the prison population out, if they were not there, you would have a prison that's almost empty.
Yeah.
And you could do all the things you want to do, rehabilitation, with far less risk of any breakouts, any riots, etc.
So the majority of the people there are on remand, and the prison population, those people who have been sentenced, are in the minority.
Now, you know how much a nightmare that is, Tim?
Frustration on the part of those people on remand, and that will be felt by the staff.
And the people, the general population, are at risk as long as that situation exists or gets worse. The general population, you, me, and our cousin.
And we deem all those people to be innocent, until proven guilty.
Oh, I'm glad you fit me in there. I was about to tell you that I hope one day you will be able to sit back and say, I put out a NewsSpin for so many years, and it was a very educational program, and that people can go in the library and pull this and pull that.
All our NewsSpins are worthy of being archived and pull them out of the library. You will get something of significant importance there, sir. Go ahead, Rick.
I like the significance of importance because that could be show what we were all those years.
Right.
But I also mean for our shows, all of us, that it imparts some education, new information, new learning to people. And the reason I said that, Tim, I mean, Toussaint and I am not exactly, don't invite us to the same fete. But it really is a con when you think of a government that has as its mantra putting the people first. And then you have a situation of what passes for justice in the country, where the average person cannot afford a lawyer even when he gets arrested, which is perhaps the most important time he needs a lawyer to be standing by him.
Yeah.
And then comes the preliminary court case, which is extremely important because it is based on what comes out of those cases that the higher courts will make decisions. If you don't have a lawyer and you go say things you shouldn't say and blah, blah, you are in trouble. So you see how when we think we are not affected, we're affected. But if you talk to the people who have been promoting the move from CCJ to Privy Council, and by the way, I put them in the same boat, okay? That 99.9% of St. Lucians will never have need of the Privy Council or the CCJ, if only for the simple fact that to get to the CCJ or the Privy Council, you have to have paid a number of lawyers from the preliminary upwards and to appeal your case and everything else. You with me?
But those who are in support of the CCJ will tell you it costs a lot less than the Privy Council.
Yeah, but you see, whether it costs less or not, to get to either of them, you got to find bread. You got to have bread. So
you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. So that is a specious argument because whether it costs more or costs less, we have to find our way there. And the average person in St. Lucia who is poor has no chance of getting there. Because even legal aid that we claim to have, when you ask questions about it, you hear, oh, but it's inundated. So in effect, it doesn't exist. You with me, Tim?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It can't take care of that. So there's no legal aid. You have no money. You can't afford the lawyers even for the first preliminary case. And they want the public concern about the CCJ and Privy Council. Now, putting the people first, you would have thought, and by the way, it's not just this administration. Kenny Anthony wrote in his book, which was published in 2004, I think he delivered a speech in 2001 during the Manly Law School. And he decries the justice situation in this country, Tim, and said the leaders of these islands, this is Lucia in particular for me, have, they are responsible and that the leaders have let down the people, putting the people first. The leaders have let down the country, the people, by denying them a cause for justice. In other words, encouraging them to uphold the law of the jungle with a cutlass. That is what we have here. And when you say that to the promoters of the CCJ or Privy Council, they don't deny that because it's undeniable, Tim. The evidence is overwhelming. So they then tell you, why are you conflating the two? Both of them are important.
But one is more important than the other.
Tim, one is not more important than the other. One is almost insignificant compared to the justice that we need to be happening in this country every single day.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have it. Everything is a breakdown. You look at how many homicides, and go back. Another trick is to talk about the homicide in this year or last year during the year, talk about the homicide. But go back even 5 years and you'll see how many unresolved homicides there are. And by the trend, you know, that will continue. It's continuing. Think of how many people have lost their daughters. I mean, go back to Valinda Joseph. You know that's not yet resolved, Tim?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
Giselle George is not resolved. Trisha Dennis. These are old names, you know. And right now with the killings, we don't even get out. There's no outrage anymore. We don't know outrage anymore. But I don't want to dwell on that too much, although we should. I want to make the point about another point. There's a guy called Thomas Carlyle, Tim, a historian and philosopher, Scottish. And he said, in effect, that if you're going to deal with a guy's bad points, how bad a guy is, do that, but taking into account the good he has done as well. Now, that does not apply across the board for me, you know, but there is a message in there. So John Peters, before most people knew the name John Peters, was writing some very controversial articles in the interest of the people of this country in the paper that Guy Mills used to run. What is it called?
The Mirror?
The Mirror. And I think he used to write also...
in The Voice?
In The Voice. He and Pat Brown were those kind of guys. Those guys were writing, and when it was very unpopular, when it was very particularly dangerous to do that, the media was, you know, in trouble, but they did it. I cannot explain why, because he's a clever man. I don't understand why John Peters accepted your invitation to come on the show, because that's when you have to say that. I don't think so. Because there's no way anything John Peters would say there would be credible to him. No way. No matter what he said. And not because he's lying, but because we know his history with that St. Jude. He has defended the Kenny Anthony Hospital over and over and over. And when the other one came up, he still defended the old one. So there was nothing new in his position as far as that hospital was concerned. So he should have known that was going to happen. My complaint with him was the use of the hack phrase and what he had said before, which to my mind tainted everything he was going to say to you anyway, because it put him in a kind of hack bracket that I have not known him to be. But by using that language and by talking about the Star Trek thing, he proved unprofessional. Now, unprofessional does not mean the man is not a great engineer. There's a difference. Being professional is acting in a manner of integrity. That's professional. But a professional can criticize another professional, you know, Tim?
Yeah.
Writers criticize people. You had this week, I think, was it yesterday, somebody called you and told you how to conduct interviews?
Yeah, somebody did, yeah.
Okay, now is that guy any experience in that?
No.
But there you have a guy calling you and telling you, attacking Peters as an engineer. That is not right, it's not fair, and it prevents people like him, the few there are, coming forward to our show, because they don't deserve that. And plus, the statement is incorrect anyway. What do you mean an old-fashioned engineer? That doesn't make any sense. Does it?
No, because I corrected him. I said, well, those people, they go on refresher courses. They read up on various innovative issues and so on. So you can't call them old engineers and people who do not have any ideas, because you need those experienced engineers alongside the new engineers as well.
As a matter of fact, a lot of those new engineers have to go and take up internship with those guys.
With the seasoned engineers.
Like journalists and lawyers, they all take up internships at well-established firms. So the idea at John Peters, and John Peters is not decrepit. John Peters is not so 92. He's not. Okay, and he's but he's not alone in that. There are people like Bosolai, a great engineer, architect, takes a lot of blows. You know, so the horror is that when you come into the public eye and talk, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is free now to try to demean you. They have no qualifications themselves. They say anything at all. They don't think of the man's feelings and so on. I mean, I criticized the guy, and I said why I criticized him. But my criticism of him had nothing to do with his abilities, or lack of respect. That's very political. In fact, what I said to the guy was very political. Let's get up straight with that. You know, and the matter of the state-of-the-art building. Tim, there's a world of difference between a state-of-the-art building and a state-of-the-art hospital. A state-of-the-art hospital has to have a suitable building, up-to-the-minute equipment, and surgeons and every properly staff, the creme de la creme. That's what people call state-of-the-art. Now, even there's matter of opinion, matter of opinion, albeit informed opinion. And the people who are talking about state-of-the-art and what have no informed opinion. They're just talking. The box thing bothered me, Tim, because I know by box, when that was being said by the Labour Party hacks, it was just to denigrate the whole thing. Call it a box, wetla. It's not the shape of the building or that other hospitals around the world have a box shape. It was to dismiss it as a box that's meaningless, that's crap, a waste of money, etc. But I will close again by saying to you, Tim, I don't know why we are wasting any more time on that discussion. The point is everybody in this matter has failed us, and that should be the topic. That is what we should be talking about.
Well, that has been, Rick, that has been established, and we're just moving on as we go along with new developments that are emerging. But it has been established, at least by myself, that all the governments between the year 2009 up until now, they have failed us. They have. All the prime ministers, all the ministers of health.
And we still don't have a hospital, and we still don't know for sure we're going to have a hospital. But what we know for sure, we'll spend around.
And Rick, I'll not be surprised again if Philip JPF fails to produce that hospital before the next general election. Because if Mr. John Peters is saying it will take at least 3 years, you add to the 1 year and months that the SLP has been in office, talking about at least 4.5 years. That's very close to the next general election. And we know what happens. People are called to account on not delivering or delivering on major projects in the run-up to a poll on the island.
Well, I'm much simpler than that, being a simple man. I will support your supposition there on the basis of past experience alone. Why would all of a sudden the same people who failed all of a sudden have an epiphany and can deliver what they couldn't deliver? And the nerve of all that is either side saying, well, you promised to deliver and you didn't, and this and that. Whereas the same thing applies to everybody. Those guys should shut up, stop causing problems in the country, stop deflecting issues, because you are all failures on what you were supposed to deliver to the people. There is no excuse. Half failed, 2% failed. You failed. Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you so much, Rick. Our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day. Scientists find a new coronavirus in bats that is resistant to current vaccines. Once again, our NewsSpin news of the day. Scientists find a new coronavirus in bats that is resistant to current vaccines. Let's take a quick break. The broadcast will continue in just a moment with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages, and we'll be hearing from an official from Turning Point, and that is in light of one suspected suicide and also a woman in hospital after an alleged suicide. All that and more coming up in just a bit.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's private cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's private cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's funeral home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Are you on a quest for improved health and vitality? It seems like daily we are bombarded by ads for prescription pills and statics regarding the declining quality of health in the world. It's more than enough to drive you crazy. But how do you improve your health? Imagine there was a secret to perfect health, a natural supplement to boost mental, physical, and emotional health, a formula for life. Introducing Laminine, the all-natural stem cell booster designed to repair, rejuvenate, and rebuild your entire body. Laminine's synergistic formula has been called the key to perfect health and has become the most sought-after supplement in the world today, helping millions to live their best quality of life. If your quest is a healthy you in 2022, you need Laminine. Laminine is now available at MNC drugstores and leading pharmacies nationwide.
Lucilec aveti ou pour point précaution durant saison cyclone Salah. Mi un petit commission qui kaywen de ou protéger la vie ou ek propriétaire ou. Kouye Lucilec avant ou trim et ben couper pied bois qui pouet ligne électrique. Veillez pour ligne courant électrique avant ou monter l'échelle. Fait assurer l'échelle, scaffold et bout d'outils ou ka servi, pas venir moins qui 10 pieds hors ligne courant électrique. Pas jamais servi appliance et ben outils qui ka servi courant électrique. Des wall côté qui mouillé et ben en la pli. Ça c'était en commission hors Lucilec.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Pose all you want.
Win big with Flow! Tickets to the biggest shows, water park passes, costumes, over $20,000 in cash, data, and more! Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day combo plan. Pay up your bill, switch to Flow, bundle up your chance to win every day!
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Pose all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for only $99. Switch now!
We are answering. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union is happy to offer you, our valued customers, the most amazing deal to own your piece of St. Lucia. From now until December 31st, enjoy an interest rate of 4.5% with a deposit of 5% to help you purchase house and land only, or put up a structure on your existing property. And it gets better. Legal fees are included in your mortgage. Call us at 452-6820 or 453-2951 or email us at info@elkscreditunion.com. Terms and conditions apply. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union, building a stronger community, one member at a time.
We speak about stigma, and especially with mental health issues within the Caribbean. The issue being that we tend to, or in the Caribbean, we've carried a very moralistic view of what mental health is, mental wellness is rather. The idea being, and this is linked very much to addiction issues as well, issues of substance use disorders and whatnot. But the idea being that it is people of weak mind who suffer from these things, and it's a matter of if they put their mind to it, they can recover. Not recognizing that these issues, these illnesses, depression, addiction, all these things, they are clear medical illnesses. We can actually show pathways in the brain where that has been affected. We know that they are medical diseases, right? These diseases just happen to affect the brain and can affect personality and everything else as well. So, because we carry this moralistic view, there's, as Mr. Joseph said, there's a lot of shame and guilt when it comes to when we suffer from these things, and we don't want to come forward and get the help that we want, right? So you find people turn to other resources, right? Resources that don't necessarily work. So they may turn to a spiritual leader, or they may use some sort of herbal medication or try other avenues. And do not get me wrong, I'm not discounting the value of these things. If these things are within your belief, I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm simply saying that there's a certain point when you recognize they're not having the effect that they should, then you have to recognize, look, I need to go and get a different kind of help. Mm-hmm. And that's where psychology, psychiatry comes into play.
You just heard there and saw the program lead at Turning Point, Mr. Robert Huggins, and part of a recent panel discussion at the Government Information Service to coincide with World Suicide Prevention Day. And this is coming against the background of reports that one man died by suspected suicide this week, and a woman is in hospital after an attempted suicide, and that is in Miku. Now, we've gone through a fair share of challenges over the last few years, particularly from 2020 up until now with COVID-19, the loss of jobs, and all kind of psychological problems. We would have gone through depression, the loss of loved ones because of COVID-19 and because of the crime problem on the island. And definitely we are in need of counseling. And you could turn to Turning Point and you could call the hotline at 203. And Mr. Huggins was talking about the whole stigmatization of people with mental health problems. And we see those people as quote-unquote mad. They should not be among us. They should not be in the society. They should not be at work. They should be discarded somewhere at the wellness center. That is not what life is all about. And you see somebody who is ailing, who has a broken arm, we believe that person is in need of medical treatment, but also somebody who has psychological, mental health problems, etc. That person is also in need of help. And how often do we see those people? We even interact with them and say, how are you doing? We ask them the question, how are you? And they say, I'm okay, but they are really not okay. So we all should try to assist each other, try to have each other's back, and where those people need the level of support through counseling, etc., we could refer them to the professionals, definitely, who can interact with them and who can improve their state of mind. Because right now, many of us in this society, we are overwhelmed, inundated with so many problems, whether we want to admit it or not. We surely need the help. So we certainly, if we need it, if friends or relatives realize that somebody needs assistance in one way or the other, let us all provide it so that we can become a better society. Because all this thing of the road rage that we're experiencing from time to time, problems in the workplace, problems at home, etc., those can add up and escalate to the point where we could have many instances of people either hurting themselves or hurting other people. Let's not take those things for granted. Let's see what is happening in the chat room in terms of some of your conversations. Somebody says, things have gotten worse, Tim. Another person says, the box alone isn't adequate to complete St. Jude's. The phase 1 must be part of the equation. So says famous or infamous contributor to this program. That's referring there to Shazi. Let's see if we have another contribution I could share with you. Okay, nothing of note, but we have a lot of comments that we could go through in the chat room, but definitely time is against us. Let me turn my attention now to our final feature, and it's called That's a Fact. That's a Fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
What is a fact? What tasty nut is considered dangerous cargo? What tasty nut is considered dangerous cargo? Pistachios are self-heating and under the right conditions can spontaneously combust. They are often treated as dangerous cargo at sea. Once again, what tasty nut is considered dangerous cargo? Pistachios are self-heating and under the right conditions can spontaneously combust. They are often treated as dangerous cargo at sea. And believe me, that is a fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
Maybe you can squeeze in one or two calls. Somebody says there, Tim, what the Labour Party has done to you, say it so the public will hear. Don't choke on it, okay? Have a blessed day. The Labour Party has not done anything to me that I can't forgive them for. Operatives of the Labour Party or government ministers, etc. Man has a job to do. He's just doing his job, whether it is SLP or the UWP. And also, I don't like the kind of hypocrisy that is being practiced by politicians. When they're in opposition, take for example, I mean, the various individuals who contested the elections on the St. Lucia Labour Party ticket were in office right now. What they said before and their old attitude now, the sky is not falling. Every now and then you have a homicide. To those victims, the relatives of those victims, the sky is falling. If you have lost your job right now as we speak, for you, the sky is falling. If you have a problem where you cannot get medication at our health institutions, okay, EU, the sky is falling. If you still have to go to the stadium that passes for St. Jude Hospital, whether as a patient or as a worker at that health institution, for you, the sky is falling. If you're a government minister and you're in your ivory tower, you're at the government building, etc., your AC and so on, the sky is not falling. If you're the prime minister and you're now in New York, getting upset, I think he might have done it already, addressing the UN General Assembly, and after that you'll be meeting with folks from the diaspora. The sky might not be falling. You get your salary, your $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000. The sky is not falling. So it is a case of what people are going through at a particular time. They could determine whether the sky is falling or not. But politicians understand that when in opposition you say certain things, those things will haunt you when you get into office. It does not stop there, and people expect you to deliver on promises that you make. And don't tell us about you just in office for a year and a few months, because then 2 years and 3 years and 4 years it will elapse. 5 years will elapse. You go back to the electorate and you will say to the electorate, we have only been in office for one term, we need another 5 years. And then you need another 5 years, another 5 years. And we are the supporters of the SLP saying that the St. Lucia Labour Party will be in office for 30 and 40 years. Now, left to those supporters, those hacks, if it comes to that, they would be very, very happy. For them, St. Lucia will be prosperous, existing in such a climate, in such an environment where we are reduced to having a one-party state, basically, and not have the St. Lucia Labour Party account, not have an opposition that will ensure that the St. Lucia Labour Party work to the benefit of the people of this country. That's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening on Power 97.9 as well as on TuneIn. Have yourself an enjoyable, safe, and fantastic weekend. And we'll be back, God willing, on Monday afternoon, 12:30 with another edition of NewsSpin. Goodbye.